expectation for the New Orleans Saints going into last season was to win the NFC South, and one of the main reasons why they had that expectation was the acquisition of quarterback Derek Carr. Now, with the Saints, they came up short of that goal. They didn't win the NFC South, and they didn't make the playoffs. Now, their approach to free agency this offseason was to try to make moves that were very cap friendly because their salary cap flexibility was limited due to a lot of the big contracts that they have on the roster. Now, they also lost Michael Thomas, former All-Pro wide receiver, who ever since he started sustaining injuries just hasn't quite been the same player the last couple seasons. Maybe a lot of his success had to do with the fact that he was playing with future Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees. Now, they brought in, and probably their biggest move in free agency was the signing of edge rusher Chase Young, formerly of the Washington Commanders, and he spent last season with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Chase Young is a former number 2 overall pick in the draft, and his rookie season, he was one of the more dominant edge rushers in the NFL. And last year, he was solid with the Niners, and he was playing opposite of arguably the best edge rusher in the NFL in Nick Bosa. Now, with the Saints, he's going to be playing opposite of Cam Jordan, who's been one of the more consistent edge rushers in the NFL the past couple seasons. Now, he's starting to get up there in age, so he's not quite the same player that he used to be. But it'll be interesting to see if Chase Young can sort of reignite that fire and live up to that number 2 overall pick billing that he had a few years ago. Now, as far as other additions that they've had, since they lost Michael Thomas in free agency, wide receiver or a third wide receiver on the roster was a need, so they brought in Cedric Wilson Jr., who's a solid number 3 option for them at the wide receiver position. But ultimately, I think that the Saints' success this season is going to be predicated on how quarterback Derek Carr plays. Now, I want to hear from football fans in the comment section down below, specifically Saints fans. What are your thoughts on the Saints' approach to free agency, and do you think that they did enough to potentially win the NFC South this upcoming season?